Good Saturday evening, Meteorologist Brandon Lashbrook here with a quick check of the tropics for you, as the tropics are beginning to show some signs of life as we now have 3 areas to watch and monitor for potential development over the next 2 and 7 days. Starting off with the central and eastern Atlantic, we have 2 disturbances. Disturbance 2 on the left side there, in the westernmost disturbance, that has a medium chance of development over the next 7 days, circling with the pointer right here. That's where you see some of that storm activity near that orange X. That may see a tropical depression form maybe by midweek of next week as it moves generally slowly to the west and northwest. We'll be keeping an eye on that one for sure. Just to the east of that, however, you see some areas of some disturbed weather near the Cabo Verde Islands. That may interact with a tropical wave moving off the coast of Africa, and that may have some developmental chances as we get to about later next week as well. The National Hurricane Center has a medium chance right now over the next 7 days for some potential development as it moves generally west and northwestward. However, closer to home, we have another area of some disturbed weather that has, you see, a high chance of development over the next 7 days. This was the newly designated Invest 91L earlier today, as there is an area of low pressure that has moved into the Bay of Campeche, and that has a medium chance over the next 2 days and a high chance over the next 7 days, as it will generally move off into the north and northwest a little bit. So we'll be watching this one very closely. A little bit closer to home here in Louisiana and the northern Gulf coast, we've been dealing with a lot of rain over the past couple days, all thanks to this area of disturbed weather that was briefly Invest 90L. You can kind of see some of that storm activity, some more of that rain. Most of that rain, though, is just offshore and more so over far coastal regions of southern Louisiana. Good view here on the visible satellite as we are beginning to lose our daylight on the satellite view. But in a good view, you can see where this broad area of low pressure is. I'm highlighting there with the L. You see a little bit of that counterclockwise spin. And over the past couple hours, you see it's kind of moving off into the southwest. Attached to it, however, is a little bit of a frontal boundary, a stationary boundary, and that's where all that rain is kind of hugging. That has drifted southward for today. So yesterday we had a lot of rain here in Louisiana, but it has all kind of drifted off to the south because another front is just off to the north. We have a cold front roughly up in here. Cold front that's moving down to the south as well, and that will bring some drier air briefly for tomorrow and maybe early Monday morning as well. And I guess kind of moving, pushing some of this tropical moisture down to the south into the Gulf of Mexico. Further south, where Invest 91L is located in the Bay of Campeche in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico, you can kind of see a little bit of that low-level spin right along the coastline there, right over the water. It's very broad right now on the shower and storm activity. It's still just disorganized at this moment, but as it moves generally kind of west and then a little bit more to the north, it will be in a little bit more of a favorable environment for some potential development over warmer waters and relatively lower wind shear. So what we know now is that Invest 91L is likely to form maybe a tropical depression by early or midweek of next week, so maybe Monday to Tuesday of next week, roughly. Some indications that it may become tropical storm strain, so we'll be watching that very closely as well. But there is uncertainty, and so we're a little bit unclear on the exact track of the system and its intensity as it moves into the western Gulf of Mexico. So that's the intensity, a little bit uncertainty there. But regardless of any development, whether we get a storm, named storm or not, likely going to be still seeing heavy rainfall threats return to the area as we go into midweek of next week to return that flash flooding threat for portions of Texas and Louisiana. So let's take a look at some of these spaghetti models. Here are some of the consensus models showing generally kind of hugging the coastline of eastern Mexico into near the Mexico-Texas border, and then beginning to move to the north and then northeast a little bit, maybe heading toward the Texas and Louisiana north-south border there. And so these are just some of these spaghetti models, and of course they may change and they may shift over the next few days as we see a little bit more of a consensus form, or we're watching the trends closely as well. Again, that's just kind of possible what we're kind of looking at here. Now notice, because it is hugging the coastline, if the center of this system, whatever it may become, if it remains a little bit over land, that land interaction may work against any intensification or organization. It may leave the system a little bit more on the sloppier side. However, conversely, if it remains a little bit over that water, over the warm waters, that center of this developing potential system, that may give us a little bit more of a window of non-land interaction to where it may begin a little bit better of a structure, or maybe a little bit more organized. So we'll be watching that course very carefully and closely over the next couple of days. So here's one model run. This is the GFS model showcasing the moisture in the atmosphere. So right here where tropical moisture is labeled, that's that tropical moisture from our current front in the Gulf of Mexico that's brought us that rain previous days. That is moving off to the southwest and will likely combine with our low MS91L in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Now as it does so, it may consolidate a little bit more of that low level spin or circulation and that get that low pressure a little bit more going, a little more stable there. And then this deep area of tropical moisture may of course bring that more conducive environment for some of that potential development, roughly into maybe Monday again or Tuesday of early next week, where we may see a low try to form there. From there on, this model in particular brings it to the north and then kind of steering off into the northeast, heading toward that maybe Louisiana, Texas borderline. But notice here in southeast Louisiana, near Baton Rouge, New Orleans, a lot of that beige colors, the light purple colors, that's that deep tropical moisture. That's going to push in and really increase our rain chances from about Tuesday into Wednesday and Thursday as well. So here in Baton Rouge and southeast Louisiana, we're likely dry mostly tomorrow, Sunday, and for most of Monday as well, but maybe Monday night getting some rain for our coastal areas. And then by Tuesday into Wednesday, that deeper tropical moisture moves in, and therefore we'll have more increased rain chances and rainfall coverage out there. And then whatever potential system develops, we'll be watching that too to bring more so that rain chance moving off to the north and northeast, likely by Thursday into the late half of the week. Now, some models indicate that we may see a tropical storm. Some of the more aggressive models try to show maybe a low-wind hurricane. We'll be watching that very closely, of course. I think good bet right now, maybe tropical depression to tropical storm, but again, we always want to prepare for at least a category more above what the forecast may be. And again, we don't have a cone out yet from the National Hurricane Center, so when we do, of course, we'll bring that information to you as well. But again, regardless of any development or formation, looking like rainfall is going to be the main threat right now, as we could see around 2 to 3 inches of rain for more northern zones here in Baton Rouge, 3 to 4 inches possible, and then down toward about Lake Charles, southwest Louisiana, maybe about 4 to 5 plus inches of rain, a possibility through the next 5 days, so that's through about Friday evening. Again, we could very well see locally higher amounts than these, and these exact values may change as the forecast changes as we get closer to. So make sure to stay focused on the forecast over the next few days for any potential updates that will likely be coming out as well. So here in Baton Rouge, we'll be seeing again drier on Sunday, mostly dry on Monday, maybe some rain late half of the day, and with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Then Tuesday onward, when we get the tropical moisture to move in, we'll be seeing increased coverage for showers and some storms out there, and our lows, or highs rather, will be lower in the upper 70s and lower 80s, and then maybe drying out or so a little bit as we get toward about the end of the week, toward next weekend. So that's it for right now for tropical updates. Again, we'll be watching MS91L very closely. The next name would be Francine, should we get it. And we'll always keep you updated on any updates that's come out from the Hurricane Center as we continue to track the tropics for you. And so for the Storm Tracker team, I'm Meteorologist Brandon Lashbrook.